Good evening everyone. Welcome to yet another video of Mech Studies. And today in this video, we will see a study plan for the quantitative aptitude section or the mathematics section. And we will have a detailed outlook on how to approach this section and a plan we should adopt for the upcoming days until examination. And I really apologize for disappearing in between because I was busy with my own examinations. And let's go ahead with the video. In the last video itself, I have mentioned that the difficulty level of Constable and SI is almost the same for the mathematics section. So you need not worry of losing out any important points for the SI, thinking that it will be difficult. So if you are doing it for the Constable, it will suffice for both. Now let's see the notification that they have put up in their official website. Here you can see on my left is the Meghalaya police website where they have put up the notice to conduct the written examination for both the AB and UB group. And on the right, you can see the formal notice where they have clearly mentioned the timings and the date. Do read this notification properly because they have mentioned a few important details which you cannot miss, like the documents that you have to carry, the admit card from which date you have to download, and so on. Those things you please have a look. And as per the notification, if you see the examination date for the starting batch, it is 26th of Feb. So you hardly have 11 days until your examinations. So what can you go about it? There are basically two types of people. Type 1, those who have already started preparing beforehand, and type 2, those who have not even touched the books yet. So in this video, I'll mostly try to help those who have not or could not start with preparation due to several factors, like they might be working or they might have several other issues. So I'll try to help those people here. If you have already prepared and if you're trying, if you're seeing for a plan for revision, you can also consider this video as well. It might be a little helpful to you. But my primary focus is to help those who have not touched the syllabus or those who have not picked up the pen and paper yet. So yeah, they will be greatly benefited from this video. All of you must have heard this quote which says, failing to plan is like planning to fail. Listen to it carefully, what it says or what it tries to convey. If you're not planning your actions, then you're sure to fail. See, there are basically again four type of students those who are preparing. Type 1, those who study. Hmm. Those who study 8 to 10 hours every day but did not have a plan. Okay. And secondly, there are people who study for 8 to 10 hours with plan. Thirdly, there are some smart people those who start study for 1 to 2 hours without any plan. Okay, they'll just go about it and will not do much. Then there's another type of people, say I call them 1% of the people who study for 1 to 2 hours with a plan. Whom do you think? Who do you think will complete, or will be able to compete in the examination? Firstly, no, this sorry. Firstly, the one studying 8 to 10 hours a day with a plan, and studying 1 to 2 hours every day with a plan. So what you can see here is planning is very, very important. If you have a plan, then you are sure to succeed. And for people who study 8 to 10 hours without a plan, they might also clear the exam, but in the long run, if you see, suppose you're posted somewhere and you have a task which you have to complete, or you have been given an objective by your seniors, and if you go about it without any plan, will you succeed? No. So make it a habit of planning your next move or next action. That will greatly help even in future. So how to plan? That is our aim. Okay, let's go about. Sorry. Yeah. Let's go about with the calculation. So basically there are four parts or four sections in the paper, as you might have already known. That is the quantitative aptitude section, English, analogy, and GK. How to go about with these three sections, I'll talk about this part later. In this video, I'll talk about only this part. See, this is a part where maximum of us might be facing an issue. And if you have less amount of time left, if you see clearly, there are basic 14 chapters. There are many small miscellaneous chapters as well. I'm not considering those. There are 14 basic chapters which you must know to score 90% in this section. The remaining 10% they might put up from any other section. I'm not considering those. I'll just consider on those 90%, that is the 14 chapters which you have to cover to get a good mark. And if you see those chapters, and basically you have to divide on how to proceed, how to go about. So here in this slide you can see I have divided those chapters for you in the order of their logic, so to say. What I mean by logic here is, see, in each and every chapters you'll find that one chapter is interrelated to another and so on. Okay, so if you try studying any chapter in between, for example simple interest and compound interest, which are very important chapters for this exam point of view, you will find that these chapters are heavily doped with the concept of percentage. So if you are not clear with the concept of percentage, you will not do wonders in these chapters. Clear? So you have to keep your concept clear with the basics. So I have arranged these chapters in that order. You can go about with this like that, and I'll not explain the order. You can just take a snap of it or screenshot it, and you can have a look later. Now let me talk about some tips and tricks which might come handy to you. And if you see here in point number 1, what I have mentioned. Okay, see, with the days remaining, you should devote as much hours as possible, like the maximum hours possible from your side to this section to get a good mark. Okay, like if you see the paper, if you analyze the paper, sure section. If you analyze the paper, there are two sure sections. That is your quant. The another is reasoning. Excuse me. Yeah. So if you do well in the quant section and reasoning section, or if you prepare well in these two sections, you are sure to get 90% of the marks, because this section is quite predictable. See, even in quantitative aptitude, if you prepare the 14 chapters that I've mentioned here, you're sure to get those type of questions. You'll not get exact questions, but you'll get questions which are similar to that concept. Even in reasoning, if you practice and go a few questions that I'll mention later in the videos, in other videos, you're sure to get those. So this is a very predictable section. And whereas if you see another section, that is English and what was the other one? English and GK. Yeah, English and GK. GK is highly unpredictable. Okay, you do not know which question they'll pick up from which book, from which website, and they'll put it. So this is highly unpredictable. And English is almost, if you see, depends on your ability. And if you have pursued English seriously since your school days, it is nothing but a piece of cake. But if you find that you have weak foundation in English, then it will be difficult, and you cannot do much about it in the 11 days. So even this becomes highly unpredictable section. But if you are good at English, then this is a scoring part as well. And yeah, talking about GK, let me tell you one thing about GK. If you analyze the paper, in paper they put 80% of it as static, or they put 80% of the GK in the paper which are static, and 20% of them are current affairs, say 20 to 10% only. So you focus maximum on the static part. You refer to Lucent GK or any other websites which post frequently asked static questions. Those will be really beneficial. And about GK and English, I'll mention in the next video. But do remember these points that I have mentioned in this video as well. Let us see point number 2. See, if you see point number 2, this point is very important from your exam point of view. The questions which are asked in the paper are in the difficulty level of easy to moderate. And if you're wasting your time practicing difficult questions, then my dear friend, it will not serve you well. You have to prepare the questions which are of these level. Okay, If you're wasting on your time on difficult questions, then it is useless. Also, if you see point number 3, you make sure you practice 3 problems on one type only. What should be your final objective? Your objective is to get the concept, and if to get a concept, 3 questions or solving 3 problems is more than enough. For example, let's consider speed, distance, and time. There might be a problem in which the distance is similar, so you'll have a concept like this: s1 into st1 is equal to s2 into t2. Okay, just saying. So this is one type of concept. So solve 3 questions on such concept, then move to next. You need not solve 10 problems on such type of questions. Okay, so that is what I wanted to convey. And also do solve previous year question paper. Do solve PYQs, because that will help building your confidence. And if you're confident, you'll be less tense while giving your examination. Coming to point number 5. So point number 5 is dedicated to such aspirants, those who think that their basics is not clear, like they have not started with anything and they don't have even the basics clear. For them, they can have another approach. They can have a selective study approach. Like, it is not necessary to get that 90% only. You can aim for 70 to 80% as well. And how will you do it? You'll have a selective study approach. Instead of dedicating that 11 days for 14 chapters, what you will do, you will study only 8 to 10 chapters. Make sure you do not study less than 8 chapters, then yeah, you will be in trouble. So make sure you study 8 to 10 chapters in those 11 days or in those 7 days, and the remaining 4 days you utilize it for other section, or you can utilize it for revision. Okay, so this is another approach, then you can get it. Okay, so all the very best for your upcoming exam. Do prepare well and remember the points that I have mentioned. And for the part 2 of the previous video, yes, I do remember that. And yeah, I have seen your comments as well. And the love and affection you have showed me in the previous video is really good, and I'm really flattered. And okay, gentlemen, all the very best for your preparation, and make us all proud in the examination day. Okay, good luck.